The movie coming out on Christmas Day or in some select cities, Christmas Eve, called Unbroken. The star of that film that is directed by Angelina Jolie is right here in studio with us, Jack O'Connell. Jack, what a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you for having me, gentlemen.
You bet. So this film about Louis Zampirini is one of the most incredible stories that people hear. And I'm wondering, when did you first hear about the story of Zampirini and Unbroken?
Yeah, it wasn't until I'd first met Angelina. She introduced me to the man's legacy. And that was like this time last year, so it's quite unfortunate. It took me 23 years to discover the man. Well, having said that now, you know, I've met him 3 times in total. I feel very grateful for his example, you know, in terms of guidance. So, but yeah, 23 years it took me to discover him. And so I think the point of us making this film is so generations underneath mine don't have to wait that long.
So he basically, he was in the 36 games in Munich, running for the United States at age 17, and then wound up fighting for the U.S. in World War II, knocked down out of the sky.
Yeah.
How long did he spend in the Pacific Ocean? About a month and a half?
47 days.
By himself?
With two other
guys.
Crewmen, yeah, one of which passed away on board the raft. 2 of them survived.
And then he went to a Japanese death camp, essentially.
4 different death camps. Prisoner of war camps was a term they used, but death camp also fits the description, yeah.
And then he passed away just in July at age 97.
97.
And so you got a chance to meet with him for 3 times. What were you most struck about by his story?
Well, I don't know. I guess how nonchalant he was in describing it. Yeah, if we ever relived it, he'd never really discuss about his emotions. You could never really get him to disclose how he felt emotionally. He'd always make a joke whenever he was touching on the emotions. He'd tell you about the structure and how things happened historically, but in terms of how it made him feel, he'd always struggle disclosing. So yeah, he was very humorous throughout it all, and like I say, nonchalant. An extraordinary tale which he just told quite casually. I found that quite striking, but also, you know, awe-inspiring. The man was very awe-inspiring. I felt quite overwhelmed the first time I met him, with awe, to the point where I nearly cried. But I wasn't going to cry in front of him, you know, because I had some reassuring to do first.
Yeah, Jack O'Connell, the star of the movie Unbroken, that's coming out in theaters near you December 24th or Christmas Day, depending on where you live, joining me here live on The Rich Eisen Show. So you play a guy who is a runner, and then plays a guy who has to be lost at sea for 47 days, and then plays a guy who's basically starved and tortured. What was that like for you physically to go through that, Jack?
Yeah, perhaps the biggest challenge of my professional career, professional life. But I knew it was going to be, you know. Nobody lied to me at any stage, and if we were going to do this man some justice, then it had to hurt some. And there's no way I was going to experience anything to the degree that Louis had to endure. So with his example constantly overhanging and dwarfing whatever I was experiencing, kind of made the whole thing a lot more reasonable anyway.
Yeah. And then, of course, you have Angelina Jolie directing you.
Yeah, exactly.
No pressure there.
No, she took the pressure off, actually.
Yes, how so?
I guess just by being... she just led by example. You know, where she needed to be brutal with the schedule, she certainly was. And I believe she was personally invested from the start. And once you see that that's the case, it kind of encourages you to dig a little deeper yourself. So, yeah, led by example.
What is the challenge of an American accent? What's that challenge, Jack? What's that?
Well, there's a lot of Americans ready to tell me that I got it wrong, you know. Heavily populated country, so... Yeah,
I mean, well, that's what we do, is we tell people that they get it wrong. That's most of what we do is, you know, here in America.
Well, no, this time around, you guys have been very polite to me.
So you're playing a Southern Californian guy. We're here in Southern California. What did you do? I mean, what do you...
Well, I had to meet him.
Okay.
And then be careful of the fact that I was meeting a 96-year-old equivalent to the man that I was hoping to portray. So I guess I kind of had to rewind a little from whatever I was discovering. And I had to acknowledge the period. I had to understand the influences at the time and And I guess people were a lot more well-spoken then in general. Back
Sure.
then, you know, surely more pronounced.
Now, do we have like flat A's or something like that? Like, can you give me a little bit of the American?
Well, I'm the
accent?
student. I'm the student, so I don't
Okay.
know if I'd be able to.
Well, I
teach
mean,
it.
New Yorkers, for instance,
Yeah, drop the
they
R's,
talk a
so
little
that-
different. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, they talk a little faster. The letter "aw" is different.
Yeah.
And if for a Midwestern person, if you write the three words marry, marry, and merry, like
Okay.
my friend Mary
Yeah.
is merry because she got married, they would say Mary, Mary, and Mary.
You've done this before, haven't you?
Well, I went to school in the Midwest.
Okay.
And I was an East Coaster who told them all the time, you're doing it wrong.
Okay.
That's why I only spent 4 years there. They sort of kicked me out of the Midwest, Jack.
I'm still trying to discover all of this as we speak.
Well,
This
listen,
is beneficial.
I know that there's Oscar buzz about your performance, but if there's any way I can help improve you as an actor, that's what I'm here for.
Certainly always welcome.
You know,
for sure.
and hopefully you, Jack O'Connell, can help us with our question that's going on right now.
Yeah, sure.
That my producer, one of the coconuts that we have here, Chris Law, says that Kate Middleton is technically not a royal because she married into the royal family. Now you strike me as somebody who could probably care less to answer this question. But I'm going to ask it anyway to you, Jack.
Okay.
Is he correct? Would the normal Brit on the street say that he is correct that Kate technically is not a royal because she married into the family?
Well, I think scientifically, perhaps not, but I'm not about to argue with her. You know, first and foremost.
Because you've got to go home, right? I mean,
I've got to go home and, you know, be an ordinary Brit again.
so you're being political right now.
I have to be. There's
like it.
recording technology around.
That's true. That's true. People are watching. But him being a coconut from America,
Right.
would them be fighting words on the streets of London?
Nah.
For him to say that?
Nah.
Okay.
Nah. Well, it all depends, doesn't it?
Well-
Some people care. I don't
Okay.
really. I don't fall into that category though.
That's what I figured.
Forgive me.
No, it's okay. Okay. This is the idiocy that we're discussing on this program today. This is what you have.
But you raised a good point about Lady Diana,
Yeah.
and that when she became divorced, Camilla didn't necessarily inherit her position in the monarchy. So that might add a logic. But I'm no expert by any means.
And there's nothing wrong with being a commoner. I mean, look at us. We're just all commoners. There's nothing wrong
I'm a
with that.
commoner. By the way, Kate Middleton now running away with the poll question.
The poll question of who's your favorite
Who
royal?
is your favorite royal? Kate Middleton now at 43%. The mother of dragons is following behind. Rich.
See, when you sit down for like entertainment tonight and Fandango and places like, you're not going to get that.
Entertainment.
Like you're getting right here.
For the interviews. For the
Yes,
interviews,
when you sit
I
down,
think. Yeah.
you know, and you're going to have to go through all of this stuff. I'm sure you're doing that right now.
No, this is cool though. This is.
Oh, good.
Sports themed.
I was about to say the idiocy that you're getting here right now. You're not going to get in those places, you know.
Okay.
So your version of football. You got a team? You got
Yes.
you got a
Yeah.
squad?
Very keen Derby County follower.
Okay.
It's the city I was born in, and
How are they doing?
we're good. Yeah, we're playing good. We're picking up points left, right, and centre.
Okay.
Top of the league at the minute in the Championship, so the division beneath the Premiership.
Can I show you a video of what happened in the MLS Cup here?
Yeah,
Major League
go-
Soccer Cup
go for it,
between the local LA Galaxy team, the AJ Suarez in the blue
Yeah.
collides with the New England Revolution goalie,
Yeah.
who he begins to help up.
Yeah.
And watch this as he helps him up. Not
Chucks
so
him.
much anymore.
Good lad. Yeah. Good lad.
What do you think?
It's one way of combating diving, isn't it?
That is.
We are ashamed. We are ashamed of that intrusion in our sport. But I've seen it's been picked up on in the NFL. Some NFL guys are diving.
Yes.
Have you seen that? I can't be bringing this to your attention, surely.
No, we've seen it. We've seen it a little bit, but
Yeah.
you know, it's more in the NBA. It's more in basketball than the
Okay.
National Football League.
Contagious.
Yeah, it is contagious.
We're sorry.
Well, yeah, but we don't have the spray. They don't come out and give the spray, right? That's my favorite thing. A guy goes down. It's like he's literally been shot.
Yeah.
They get the spray, and then they limp off, and suddenly 5 seconds later, they're running like a deer.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah. It's groundbreaking in medicine technology. Yeah, groundbreaking.
Jack O'Connell, good luck with this film.
Thank
and
you,
I
sir.
would love to have you back here if you're so inclined to be part of our idiocy ever again. You strike me as a very serious actor And I want to make sure that you understand, here there's not much serious. You know what I mean?
For sure, I'll
We're
be
good.
back then in that case.
Fantastic.
I'll be back for sure.
At Jack, 2 underscores, right?
Both of them, yeah.
On
just the
Twitter.
two, just the two.
Okay. Jack _ OC, right on Twitter?
No, Jack O.
O.
_C.
That's it. Follow Jack O _C and go see Unbroken on December 24th or Christmas Day, depending on where you are. Good luck. What a pleasure meeting you.
You too, Rich.
You bet. Jack O'Connell
Cheers,
here
Max.
on The Rich Eisen Show.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.